Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Another example of a diplomat coming from an independent sovereign country, speaking the way you should speak as a free person and defending your country's interests. This diplomat is the foreign minister of Hungary, Peter Szijjarto. He is taking the US ambassador to task. And he doesn't really care what the US ambassador to Budapest thinks about whatever Hungary does. Now, there is a pretty straightforward view. And let's see what this article tells us about it. So, this article comes from, and it's not a commercial on shoes here, Associated Press. And it's for about an hour ago, on the date of February 2nd, 2023. U.S. ambassador's views on Hungary irrelevant, end quote, minister says. Now, this is the minister, right here. And this is the ambassador. All right? So, ambassador, minister, ambassador, minister, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna read who is one and who is the other, okay? Because he's an Hungarian, the other one is an American. All right, so this is Szijjarto. Let's see what this beautiful article tells us about. Budapest, Hungary. The Hungarian foreign minister, I get that nose away. The Hungarian foreign minister accused the United States ambassador to Budapest on Thursday of trying to interfere in Hungary's internal affairs. What's new? Amid a growing diplomatic rift between the US and the Central European country. At a news conference in Budapest, Foreign Minister Peter Szijjarto lashed out at comments in Politico this week in which Ambassador David Pressman referred to Hungary's approach to the war in neighboring Ukraine as, and I'm quoting, pushing policies endorsed by Putin, Russian President Putin. So, this is just attacking and trying to use symbols. Obviously, Vladimir Putin doesn't have a good symbol, right? He doesn't represent anything positive. So, Hungary's pushing policies endorsed by someone. So if you say that you like you like the day better than the night, and let's say Joseph Stalin, the former dictator, if you want to put it this way, of Soviet Union liked also day instead of the nighttime, well, you're just pushing that kind of policy. Well, you can't, as a human being, fly parallel with what other people did, okay, and what other people's policies were, unless we think that if we put, let's say, Stalin, he always had only bad decisions, and he, his policies were always evil. I can think of another person in the same way that but so we know that such a person exists only in movies or stories, fairy tales, or in religion. Religious books, they tell us about, God and the other one, and we are in between. So let's go back to this article and see what's going on here. So, Szijjarto, the foreign minister of Hungary, said it is, and I'm quoting, completely irrelevant what Pressman or any other ambassador thinks about the domestic political process in Hungary, because it has nothing to do with him. And I'm quoting again, it is not his place to interfere in Hungary's internal affairs, Szijjarto said. Pressman, Mr. David Pressman, the US ambassador to Budapest, an appointee of the Biden administration, who earlier served as US ambassador to the United Nations for Special Political Affairs, has faced significant headwinds since taking office in Hungary in August last year. So, Let's see who this guy is before we, keep reading here. So this is the guy. Let's see. Bam. David Pressman, okay? So he's born in 1977, American lawyer, okay, served as a U.S. State Ambassador to Hungary since 2022. Okay, let's see with biography. Raised in a Jewish family, Pressman received his bachelor's in Brown University, okay, and then from New York University School, law, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now, let's see who Szijjarto is, right? I mean, after all, we have to read them both, right? I thought that Peter Szijjarto was educated partly in the West. I'm talking about United States and or Germany or Great Britain, and I'm telling you why. So his name is Szijjarto Peter, okay, and he is a Hungarian politician. And I looked down here to see, I mean, his early life was born in Komárom. I've been in Komárom. I went as a child a few times. I think I've been as an adult as well. Anyway, and he said after spending a half year in the United States, he finished his secondary studies in, I'm not going to do this, anyway, in Győr. I've been in Győr. I think Győr is by the border with Austria. Győr. Yes, I think so. So, in 1990, I'm by Sopron. Yeah, that's where it's at. 1997. So he finished his secondary studies. So he's been over there. He's been half year. I suspected that, and I tell you why I suspected that he was educated in the West, or at least he lived outside of Hungary, because he knows these guys. He knows them so well. And not only that he knows them in half a year, what can you know? But he's a very intelligent, and it seems like he's a very good observer and internalizes events and puts, one with another together. And I figured that out without knowing that he must have been educated somewhere outside, because of the way he treats the so-called, how do you call this guy, interviewers. When he's interviewed by Western media outlets, you have a weasel over there, and I watched them a lot when they interviewed people that are not good people. Like, for instance, Ahmadinejad, the former president of Iran, or his prime minister, I can't remember, and foreign minister, I can't remember, the one that signed the nuclear deal. He was part of, I can't remember, not Sharif, I can't remember his name, with a little white beard. He was a very intelligent guy. I saw how they interviewed BBC, Sky, CNN, all these guys interviewed them. And I saw, not only that, I saw how they interviewed Putin or others, people that they don't like. And I saw the answers of these people. And some of them were not prepared, because these people, the interviewers, use the same weasel tactics. Weasel tactics, which is interrupting you, attacking you personally, making something unimportant important because for them it's important, but it's not important, relevant to the international policy, foreign policy. Anyway, but this foreign minister of Hungary, he was 3 steps ahead of these guys. So he must have seen these things. He must have trained himself. He's young. How old are you, Mr. Peter? Let's see. All right, Mr. Peter. He was born in 78. So, yeah, he's young, put it this way. He's not like 60 or, you know what I mean? And he was capable, and now is like that. Remember, he's been there, I think, from 2002 or something. So, if he's been like this, in the office, assumed office 2014 actually, and he was a prime minister, from 2014. He is smart. He knew the answers. Just watch some videos of Mr. Szijjarto, and you're gonna see how he grabs this interviewers by their or by the not that, just gling. Anyway, weasels. So I said it must be. All right, so let's go back to this article and see what else Mr. Szijjarto says. Okay, not that, not this. Where am I? Right here. Bang, bang. Local media loyal to the right-wing government of populist Prime Minister Viktor Orban. You see, all this beginning right here tells you who Orban is. He's a right-wing populist. Right-wing, not good. Populist, not good. That's the way we are supposed to think about anybody who's labeled like that. I don't know if these labels fit Orban, but nevertheless, they felt compelled to put it over there. So, have accused a diplomat of meddling in Hungary's judiciary and of pushing American colonialism. Oh my God, that's pretty bad. Since taking office, Pressman, Mr. David Pressman, has been vocal about a growing wave of anti-American sentiment in Hungary. No, it's not an anti-American sentiment. It might be an anti-American government sentiment. When they say, well, it's an anti-American sentiment, it's not. People, they don't have a problem with Americans per se. They might have a problem with the political system and the politicians, but on the other hand, you say, well, who elects these politicians? What system is governing here in this free world that we live in, some of us anyway? So, partly we are guilty of our leaders or representatives because we were given 2 or 3 maximum to vote out of. So, usually 2. So, there you have it. We were given, remember, that's the word. Writing on, so let's, okay, since taking office, Pressman have been vocal about growing wave of anti-American sentiment in Hungary. No, I don't think they hate me or hate you or anything or anti. And on the reluctance of Orban's government to join the European Union in imposing sanctions on Moscow for its war in Ukraine. Well, those sanctions, if they would have joined the European Union hysteria, that would have hurt the Hungarian people. And they were elected, Orban was elected by Hungarian people, not by Brussels. So yes, his first allegiance is to Hungary and Hungarian people, not the people in Brussels. But you're not supposed to think that way. So now he's, called a right-wing populist. Writing on Twitter in January, Pressman asked, and I'm quoting, how does protecting Russian oligarchs from sanctions serve Hungary and Hungarians? The same way as you, United States of America, protected dictators all around the world so many decades. Give you an example. Just a little kingdom in the Middle East, for instance. Sounds familiar? It doesn't have to mention another guy who started another guy with Iran. Remember? In a war in Iran. Remember that one? In 1980s, Iran-Iraq war. Who were supporting the bad dude that got hanged, which is Saddam. Okay? Yet Hungary's government, which had an amicable relationship with the U.S. administration under former President Donald Trump, has insisted that sanctions are hurting European countries more than Russia and declared that only negotiations between Moscow and Washington and not the withdrawal of Russian troops from Ukraine can bring an end to the war. You see over there, and not the withdrawal. That's another hit under the belt. So the guy said, well, let's stop the war, discuss, and find a solution through negotiation. On Thursday, Szijjarto said Pressman would, and I'm quoting, have a very different job in terms of working effectively to improve cooperation, end quote, between Hungary and the US if he criticized Budapest policies. And I'm quoting, that era is over. Hungary is a sovereign country. Good job. Thank you very much, Szijjarto. Szijjarto said, and I'm quoting again, no one from outside can tell us how to live. And another round of applause for Szijjarto. Responding to Szijjarto's comments in a tweet Thursday, David Pressman wrote, I'm quoting, respectfully, I don't think so. We do not consider Russia's attempts to unilaterally redraw the borders of Europe as just a domestic political development in Hungary. Well, Mr. David, should I remind you of another drawing of borders in Europe by you? How about Kosovo? Sounds familiar? Yeah, it was a decision of the Albanians in Kosovo. Yeah. Do we recognize that? Yeah. Okay, how about other people that voted and had a referendum? Do we recognize that? No. Why? Because it's not done by the right people. I can mention, Crimea. I can mention these occupied territories in Donbass, Luhansk, and Donetsk. Okay, People's Republic. People voted over there, as they did in Kosovo. But hey, so who redrew the map first in 1999, bombarding Yugoslavia, which was Serbia and Montenegro, I think, at that point. That's why it was still Yugoslavia. It was not Russia, I know that for a fact. It was some NATO countries, including United States of America, as the big coalition leader. And besides, that was never endorsed by the United Nations. So that was an illegal war. So how are these guys called when they attack another country illegally? How are the leaders of those countries called again? Unprovoked? What? Anyway, so Szijjarto is a fantastic, I would say, foreign minister. He is intelligent, he is witty, he's courageous, and he's not a weasel, that's for sure. What's his name? Pullman, or whatever his name is. David. Anyway, he's doing his job. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.